Imagine two students. One student gets straight A's, leads various clubs, is part of multiple APs, and is volunteering on weekends, and is already thinking about college applications. On the other hand, the second student gets A's and B's, sleeps 8 hours a night, spends time with friends and family, and has extracurriculars outside of school. Now, if I were to ask you which student is more successful, many of you would automatically choose the first student. But I think we're asking the wrong question. Success shouldn't just be measured by what you achieve, but also by what it costs you to get there. So I think the better question is, which student is paying the higher price for their success? Hi everyone, my name is Bhavya Mitali, and as someone hoping to go into healthcare one day, I've been fascinated by how the human body works and what makes healthier lives. As I've learned more about the human body, I've come to realize that we spend a lot of time talking about success, but we never talk about what that pursuit of success does to our health. Since we were a kid, we were always taught to get good grades, work hard, and strive for excellence in order for a better future. But somewhere along the way, achievement starts to become something that we stop pursuing and something that we depend on. Think about the average high school student today. They're striving to get good grades, be part of extracurriculars, prepare for the SAT and ACT, volunteer, lead jobs, and also have a healthy social life along the way. Individually, none of these are that difficult, but together they can feel overwhelming. As a high school student myself, I know how hard it can be to balance expectations between friends, family, and everybody that's around you. And perfectionism and achievement start to become something that you need instead of goals. In fact, a recent study shows that 82% of people are increasing their strive to be perfect. College students are wanting to be more perfect than they did ever in the past. And social media has made this easier than ever. You can open any app at any point in life and look at somebody's achievements and what they are doing currently, but what you don't see is the sleepless nights and the stress that they're facing behind those achievements. Social media rarely ever shows the full picture, it only shows you the highlights. You take somebody else's highlight reel and compare it to your own behind-the-scenes reality. And when comparison starts to create pressure, you start making very stupid decisions. You start staying up one more hour to study or one less hour to sleep, one more expectation to meet. And all this pressure starts to turn into something even bigger, stress. Many people think stress is simply just an emotion. Medicine, though, tells us a different story. Stress is actually biological. When our eyes and ears notice something, it sends that information to the amygdala. And if the amygdala considers that information dangerous, it continues to send that information to your hypothalamus. The hypothalamus then regulates the autonomic nervous system, which is what controls all your involuntary body actions like heart rate and breathing. The autonomic nervous system then tells different glands in your body to regulate all the different hormones in your body like adrenaline and cortisol. But the high production of adrenaline and cortisol can lead to heart attacks, stress, and other disastrous impacts. And it also creates chronic stress, which is harmful to both your mental and physical health. Then there's sleep, perhaps the most overlooked aspect of student health. The American Association of Sleep Medicine recommends that students get between 8 to 10 hours of sleep per night. Yet many students get far less, and we already know why. They're working up late studying, or working for tests, homework, jobs, or sometimes they're even just up late worrying about tomorrow, grades, or anything that's happening in their lives. But what's fascinating is that sleep is one of the most important things to academic performance. And students are sacrificing the one thing that's helping performance the most. Research shows that students that get less sleep tend to perform less well academically than students that get adequate rest. So that raises an interesting question, because wasn't the whole point of pulling that all-nighter to get a better grade? And then there's other disastrous effects of continuously getting less sleep. It leads to injuries, harm, diabetes, and a lot of other health risks. And then perhaps the most important thing is understanding that physical and mental health are actually connected. Sleep affects the mind and stress affects the body. Physical health affects mental health, and vice versa. So when one suffers, the other usually suffers too. So this is why prevention is super important, because it's way easier to protect health than to rebuild it. And this is why healthcare professionals are putting so much more effort into prevention, because it's so much easier doing that. And as someone hoping to go into healthcare, this has changed my idea on it. Healthcare is often viewed as treating illnesses, but the greatest interventions happen way before someone even becomes a patient. And that's why prevention and healthy habits are important. Sleeping well and managing your stress is also important. So this all comes back to the original question. What is the cost of achievement? Perhaps the greatest cost of achievement is losing all the little moments that you have. You tell yourself that you're gonna eat after you finish one more assignment, or you're gonna drink water after you finish reading one more chapter, or you're finally gonna be able to sleep after this test. And even when you're surrounded by the people that you care about the most, your mind always goes to that one test that you're gonna take tomorrow, or the test that you took months ago that the results are gonna come out in another few months. And so what's the point of success if you're risking your health for it? And what's the point of achievement if you're too exhausted to enjoy it? So if the price of success is chronic burnout and declining health, then maybe we need a different definition of success. One that values accomplishment, but also the person behind it. One that sees that health is just as important as success. Because after all, health is what makes success possible. Thank you.